Please note that this video is not intended to be a gameplay guide, but a walkthrough of the current state of the logbook within the game until we implement the final iteration. It will contain many cuts and edits throughout. Use the chapters on the video to find the section you are looking for if desired. Thank you. Realms are used to store individual game saves, and you can have up to 3 with different game modes and difficulty settings. The next selection to make is Standard or Hardcore. Standard means if a hero falls in combat, they will recover in the hospital for a time before returning to combat. If you select Hardcore and a hero falls in combat, they will truly die and cannot be recovered. We also have 4 difficulty settings: Easy, Normal, Hard, and Very Hard. They are as you would expect them from their descriptions. However, you should note, Very Hard is intended for those who truly want a challenge and usually people already well familiarized with the game. When you've made your selections, press Enter to begin your game. An important thing to note throughout this video is that all the user interface you will see is placeholder until we complete our full UI overhaul. We have begun this process behind the scenes already, but for those interested in seeing samples of what it might look like, we have included some images at the end of this video, and we hope you enjoy them. The first thing you will do within your game is create a guild. On this guild creation menu, you may choose from a large selection of guild emblems, randomize your guild name and emblem, or create a custom guild name. All heroes you create will be in your guild by default, and you are also able to recruit more heroes into your guild as you progress. For the basic camera control, you can use functions on both the mouse and keyboard. Hold the left and right mouse button at the same time to pan the camera, or you can use standard WASD controls to pan in the respective direction. You can also hold shift to pan faster. Holding right click only will rotate your camera. When you've completed a task, you will notice at the top of the screen you have the next recommended step, and next to that display you have 2 icons. One icon is a green flashing treasure chest, which is an accumulation of all the rewards you have earned thus far by completing steps in the guide. You are able to mouse over the treasure chest and can click to claim the rewards within at any time. The next icon is perhaps one of the most important icons in the game for new players, the Guidebook icon. Clicking this icon will bring you to the in-game guide, which has a wealth of information on just about any topic you can think of. Selecting a topic will bring up the information on that topic for you to read, and should answer most of the questions that you could have about the game. You may also click on the question mark on any individual step to open the guidebook directly to that entry. Click the play button on any individual step to begin that step of the guide. Most entries will darken the screen and highlight only the button you are needing to press to complete that action. Keep in mind, when we implement the new user interface, these highlighted buttons will be much easier to find, making following these steps much smoother. Many sections within the game have an icon which allows you to hover your mouse over for more information. In this step, you create your hero. You must choose a race, gender, class, and specialization, as well as make a selection from various appearance options, of which we plan to continuously add more to the game, allowing for more variety. You may then choose a name, or click random to cycle through a long list of pre-chosen names. When you are happy with your hero, you may click Create Hero. This will create your officer, who will then perform a brief show-off before walking back into the barracks, where they will always default to if they are left without a command. Opening your welcome gift will provide you with some starter materials. Clicking play and following the prompted information on the screen will lead you to the appropriate inventory and teach you how to transfer an item from your cache into your merchant inventory, and how to open a container such as this welcome gift, equipment chests, sacks of gold, and more. After clicking open, you will automatically receive the contents of any container which you opened into your merchant inventory. There are a few ways you can move around the UI within the game. The most common is moving the panels to a different panel position. Notice that the tab above your quest panel is highlighted here. Click and drag to move the panel to a different location on your screen. You may also want to keep a panel readily available. This can be done by minimizing the panel by simply clicking the minimize button. You can maximize the panel again from the bar at the bottom. The region map is a quick tool which will allow you to see areas you have unlocked, dungeons available in each zone, as well as vendors, crafting stations, or resource nodes. Quests are another crucial part of your game. You will be able to post quests based on your stage of the game or based on your individual needs at any moment. Remember, at any time you can click the question mark on a task to bring up the guidebook entry for that task, ensuring you are well versed in what a feature might be for and even some extra strategies that might help you along your way. You may also access any other bit of information by clicking the guidebook icon at any time. World heroes, which are heroes not under your control, will automatically pick up quests from you as long as they can do them. They will receive bonus experience when they turn them into you. When posting a quest, be sure to choose your quest based not only on the areas in which you have unlocked, but also based on your current needs. Here's a pop-up talking about our first favor. We'll talk about this later. For example, if you need fur logs, you will want to ensure you always have a fur log quest active, as that will incentivize the world heroes to do these quests for you and regularly bring you fur logs in exchange for your gold. Each hero, whether created by you or a world hero, will spawn with a star ranking of 1 through 5. Heroes with higher than 1 star are much less common. You are able to earn star coins by completing various tasks in the game. Using these star coins on heroes will work toward increasing their star rank. Any hero in your guild, including world heroes or officers, can benefit from star coins. Higher star rankings increase the base stats of a hero by a small amount for each rank. Ever since we created our hero, Logmaster, he has been idle in the barracks. That is because we haven't assigned him any command. Since he is an officer in our guild, he will only do something if you specifically command him to do so. For now, we will assign Logmaster to gather for us. Once we issue the command, he will act it out, no matter the danger it might present. So be careful not to send officers to their deaths. Most towns you unlock will have a goods vendor of their own. For Terrafell, this vendor is Hemdall. Goods vendors will offer various items or materials to you based on the region, and some available purchases may be very rare or powerful. It is a good idea to keep an eye on goods vendors regularly. When you choose to visit Hemdall to make purchases, you will go there yourself since he resides within the safety of the walls of Terrafell. However, purchases from neighboring goods vendors will need to be picked up by an officer after you've made the purchase. To make purchases locally, simply select the item you want, move the slider for quantity if applicable, add the item to your cart, and click Purchase. We plan to streamline this process with the new UI. Dungeons are some of the greatest challenges in the realm, and also the most rewarding. At any time, you can command an appropriately leveled hero to challenge dungeons. You also have access to the locate button, which will make your camera follow the officer. However, if they are performing another task, they will finish it before moving on to the next one. Unless, of course, you cancel a task by right-clicking on their current list of tasks to the right of their officer panel. This will cause them to stop what they're doing and perform the next task in the sequence right away, assuming they are able to stop. Keep in mind, officers cannot leave combat at any time. On the way to the dungeon, heroes may encounter monsters in the wild. These could be dangerous, especially in situations like this one where 2 wolves attacked Logmaster at the same time, so make sure the path to the dungeon is also safe. Once inside of a dungeon, you can choose to watch the combat or not by clicking on the dungeon's in-world UI element or clicking on the crossed swords on the officer panel. You have all the information for your officer or officers in the dungeon, such as their health, mana, armor, and ward, along with the current spell or attack they are performing, and some effects on them, such as, in this case, Divine Shield. You also have a damage and healing meter. This will also display the current dungeon wave you are on out of the total dungeon waves you need to clear to complete the dungeon. Logmaster has successfully cleared the wolf den. However, we want him to continuously farm the dungeon to get more gear and experience. To do this, we can right-click on the dungeon icon, turning it to teal and toggling on repeat. Now when we assign him to the wolf den, he will repeat it until his inventory is full or until death. Good luck, Logmaster. There is a lot more information available for each dungeon by checking the dungeon panel. First, we have the dungeon details. This is a small bit of lore, a small bit of enemy information, and a few extra bits of info such as required level, team size, some stats, and more. Next is the enemies tab. Get familiar with this tab as it will show you the monsters that can randomly spawn in each dungeon wave. In the wolf den, you have the wolf cub, who is a simple minion enemy and has lowered stats. However, they can spawn in large numbers. You also have the average wolf, which is an inspiring mob, meaning they will provide buffs to their allies. Finally, you have the alpha wolf, the boss in the dungeon who is signified by a purple border in combat. The alpha wolf is a brute and also inspiring. Looking closer, the alpha wolf has both health and armor in green under the modified stats. This means that both of these stats are higher than normal. Red, of course, would mean that the stat is lower than normal. Next, we have the loot table section. This will show you all of the possible drops from the dungeon, as well as the likelihood of them dropping. This will also track how many of each item has been found on your realm by anyone who has completed the dungeon. And then we have the loot history section. Here you can see a record of who has looted what, more specifically in each successfully completed dungeon attempt. Finally, the dungeon logs. Here you will be able to see the highest DPS achieved, the highest healing achieved, and the fastest clear, for those of you who want your guild to always be on top. Loot is among the most important of things in your playthrough, so keeping it organized is vital. When your merchant inventory gets too full, you can click the stash checkmark to enable stashing, and then the stash button to send anything into your cache. You may also click stash all to store everything. Crafting is a powerful but potentially costly way to acquire some of the best gear in the game. There are many recipes to unlock which you can also research to gain more power. For now, we will just craft some of the basic compounds from the raw materials we have gathered so far. Select the crafting station at the top of the sheet, choose a category, and then an item within the category you want to craft. Then, click the hammer and choose how many you want to craft where appropriate. All active crafts are tracked on the In Progress tab. Once you have your equipment, you want to make sure it gets distributed the right way. First and foremost, giving it to your officers who need it. Open the inventory of the officer you want to equip, and then open your own merchant inventory. From there, you can transfer items to and from the officer, or directly equip the item onto an officer. While working with gear, you will also notice a green arrow on some items. This means that the general combat power for that particular item is higher than what an officer may have equipped. However, an important thing to keep in mind is that combat power isn't everything. For example, since Logmaster is a cleric, he will benefit from ability power, but not ferocity. This means that even if an item is higher combat power, if it has ferocity when the currently equipped item has ability power, it is likely not an upgrade. Use the green arrow for general guidance to compare items, not as an end-all indicator that an item is better. Once you replace the starter gear for an officer, you can then delete the starter gear as it serves no further purpose. To keep your gear even more organized, it's important not to let your officers hold on to too much. You can transfer items back to your merchant inventory without having to have the inventory open by simply pressing the transfer button, or transfer all. Fishing is another important mechanic in maximizing the potential of your heroes. Fish will provide a percentage-based buff to heroes for a duration, and you can stack multiple fish on a single hero. First, you want the bait from Graber, the local fishing master. Now that you've acquired your bait, you want to start fishing. While fishing, you have access to multiple lures you can use based on the type of fish you want. Click the information button on any lure to see the available fish using that lure and the benefits they provide. Every other skill point you earn in fishing allows you to add a single skill point into a lure of your choice, which will increase the amount of fish you can catch. This all happens automatically once you press cast. You should always ensure you have a bait on. Each bait has limited charges, and whenever a charge is used, that means you caught an extra fish matching the bait type. We have plans before launch to add some major quality of life updates to fishing and feeding officers. To invite a guild member, you need to use a missive. Missives can be earned in various ways, and they have different tiers. Lower tier missives work on lower level heroes, and higher tier missives on higher levels. It is possible for a hero to decline the invitation, even with appropriately tiered missives, so make sure to use the best ones for your level for the highest chance of them accepting. Guild members will always prioritize fellow guild members' groups when attempting group dungeons. Guild members can also exchange gear between each other and you and your officers using the guild bank. Be sure to check your guild bank regularly for things your guild members may have put in there, as well as stocking in powerful items yourself your guild members may use. You will need them later for guild clears on group dungeons, as in order to get proper guild achievement credit, you need a certain amount of guild members based on the total group size. Remember, you can also use star coins on guild members to grow their power. The campaign for the Merchant's Guide to the Kingdom will be one massive adventure which spans across the entirety of the game. Our official game launch is only Chapter 1 out of many planned chapters we plan to deliver. You can make the campaign private, which means only your officers will do it when you tell them to. This will also allow you to pay closer attention to the campaign should you choose to. You can also set the status to public. This means any hero at any time can pick up the quest you are currently on. Keeping the campaign locked means no one can nor will grab the quest, and you can continue it whenever you are ready. Officers cannot be assigned to the campaign adventure while they are in combat, since it comes along with certain dialogue options. Now that we are facing the next dungeon, Redclaw's Lair, let's take a look at some of the other mechanics you can see in dungeons. You'll notice the red circled numbers which indicate the number of hostile spells or attacks being focused on any hero or enemy. You can also notice a green circled number, which is an incoming buff, heal, or utility spell from an ally. You can also notice quick circles flashing around each target in the dungeon. This is an indicator of taking incoming damage or healing, which is representative of the damage type. A gray circle, for example, is a physical damage taken indicator, while a purple circle is a magic damage taken indicator. Most effects, both positive or negative, will also be written on the portrait of the target currently under the effect, such as a portrait reading stunned when the target has been stunned. And of course, when a portrait turns into a skull, the target is dead. If a hero dies in a solo dungeon even once, it is counted as a loss. We'll discuss dying in group dungeons later. Always remember that your inventory management is an important part of your success. One small feature added to help with keeping things clean would be inventory sorting. You are able to press a button to sort your inventory into individual categories if you desire. Selling items is a great source of gold for your operations. From your storefront management sheet, you can post items for sale, see suggested items to sell, earn daily bonuses, and hit sales goals for extra bonuses on top of things already being sold. While you have gear posted to your storefront, any world hero in the realm will regularly check your shop for an item upgrade or a needed material. They will also potentially buy extra gear just to salvage and use for their own crafting. It is a good idea to sell much of your unneeded gear, as there will often be someone in the realm who has a use for it. While crafting is already a powerful way to get some of the best gear in the game, you can make crafts even more powerful by performing research. While looking at any craft, you will notice a plus and a number afterwards, such as +9 craft on this book. This means that while you can craft and wear this item at level 1, it is quite a bit more powerful. However, it has increased resource costs as well. If you need a quick fix, stick with the lower crafts. However, if you are looking for a longer term boost with more investment, focus on the higher crafts. Each craft also has a quality rank. Research will increase this quality rank up to 10, increasing its power even more per rank. This is an extremely powerful way to help you overcome any difficult dungeons you may reach. As you are going through the game completing the dungeons, you will notice under the Guild Achievements tab that each dungeon has a reward to claim when completed. These will consist of gold, experience, equipment chests, and more. As is seen here, Wolfden and Redclaw's Lair are completed, and we now have Carapace Cove and Tawny Mine unlocked. Once we complete Tawny Mine, however, we will unlock more dungeons and potentially higher tier gathering nodes. Now that we have claimed the experience from these previously completed dungeons, that has pushed us over the required experience needed to unlock a second officer slot. In our case, we're going to make a healer to go along with Logmaster, our tank. She seems to like purple, so let's name her appropriately. As you progress through the game, you will continue to unlock extra officer slots, up to a maximum of 5. This will be your elite squad, meant to lead and carry in some of the most dangerous content out there. As a result, you should always ensure that you are thinking of a synergistic strategy. This way, they can use it to their advantage to survive. Now that we have 2 heroes, this could cause quite a significant workload if you continue to manually assign commands. You can solve this by putting both heroes on free roam. This means that they will do their own tasks similarly to a world hero. To do so, simply right-click the portraits. We have a customer now who wants to sell us Twill. Whenever a customer wants to sell you something, you can choose to accept the sale and pay gold for it, resell the item, or deny the item. You can close your shop by disabling the Buy Items button on your storefront tracker. Just remember, if you close your shop, you have to open up again eventually, as while your shop is closed, heroes will never sell anything to you, though they will continue to buy. The Merchant's Guide to the Kingdom also has an item tracker. This will show you all of the gear that has flowed into the game from many different sources. You can enable and disable certain sources and item types by using the item filter. For example, not showing the gear that Purple receives since she is a lower level, or disabling common items from showing, which will dramatically reduce the amount of gear that shows here, making it even easier for you to know what is out there within your desired parameters. You can also press clear at any moment to get a fresh start. Let's get back to fishing. Another important reason to catch a fish would be to squish them, in essence putting them in a barrel and pressing on the oil out of them. Access the Fish-O-Matic 3000 from the dock sheet. Here you can select from your available fish items, choose how many you want to add, and squish the oil out of them. As you squish fish, your overall amount of oil will go up. Once you have enough to make either fish oil, which requires 5, or Omega 9, which requires 20, you can click Convert to make a single one, or Max Convert if you want to make as many as you can. These oils are valuable crafting materials in many recipes. For now, we've only squished a single rock crab claw, so we only have 0.4, still a ways to go. As mentioned before, the guild bank is a great way to distribute gear to and acquire gear from your guild. To deposit items yourself, open your inventory, hover over an item you wish to deposit, and click the Deposit to Bank button. This will put it directly into the guild bank. To access the guild bank, open your storefront sheet and click the Guild Bank tab. We have many plans with the UI rework to make the inventory management system much more intuitive. The Merchant's Guide to the Kingdom has a lot of items and materials that you may need to know about to succeed. To help you manage your way through this, we have added a More Info button. Select any item in your inventory and click the Information button below it. This will bring up just about everything you need to know about this item. In the More Info section, you can see the item type, the approximate value, the tier, weight, slot, and much more. If it is a crafted item, you can also see what components you need to craft it. If it is a component or a raw material, you can see all the recipes it is used in. You can also see the Find More section. which will show you where you can craft an item or where you can find the item. While on the More Info page, you can click any item to follow up on where it would be found as well. This should all make finding any information you need on items as available as possible. You can even click Locate on many raw materials to find exactly where the resource is located in the world. While we are here looking at the Sea Thistle field, let's talk about upgrading nodes. Each resource gathering node has a rank up to rank 5. The higher the ranks are, the more materials anyone gathering from that node will gather each time they are there. Higher ranks also increase the magic find of that individual node, meaning any heroes gathering from the node have a higher chance of acquiring rare materials. This is a great thing to keep up on, but gets quite expensive per rank. We are going to skip the complete Carapace Cove step in the logbook and move on to Tawny Mine, as by now you are a pro at clearing dungeons. Before we do, we should talk about favors. The major NPCs in town, those being the blacksmith, tailor, mystic, and lumberyard, along with Collector Jones, will occasionally ask you for a favor. These are sometimes small, sometimes larger quests for gear, materials, hunting quests, dungeon drops, or other objectives you can do for them to turn in for bonus rewards. One other major benefit from favors is that each favor turn-in will reward experience to every single hero in the realm. Keeping up with your favors will help your entire realm progress very well. If a favor is too large or not along the lines with what you are currently doing in the game, you are able to decline it. This only results in a short wait to receive a new favor from the NPC who you declined. We have a major rework plan for favors, which will make them much more exciting and rewarding. This is coming in the near future. As you progress through your game, you are constantly interacting with 5 different pillars of the game. These are Combatant, Ambassador, Mercantile, Craftsman, and Director. Each pillar has its own activities which you can partake in to earn achievements. Each achievement you complete will contribute to a repeatable achievement bar. Whenever you fill your achievement bar, you will earn a small reward. Each achievement also contributes to a larger goal. As you complete a full goal for each pillar, you will achieve a higher rank within that goal for your current in-game week. You may also notice that as you achieve certain goals, you earn a +1 to the vault tokens at the bottom of your screen. These will be added to your total at the end of the week. At the same time, a courier from the king will arrive at the Terrafell docks who you can visit to spend those vault tokens. As you achieve higher ranks in the goals, up to a maximum of 5 ranks each, you will unlock new potential for an item or goodie bag you can purchase from this courier. These can be greatly beneficial to your playthrough. Check your goals and achievements page and work on trying to get tier 5 in your most desired category. We should also discuss tokens. Tokens are a valuable currency you can earn by progressing your game in just about any way you can imagine. As you earn these tokens, you can reward them individually to any hero in the realm to help them catch up in experience, or you can also earn mass tokens to reward all heroes at once with XP. To see specifically how to earn tokens, you can click the Earn button. Here you can see which goals you are closest to achieving to earn more tokens, or you can sort it by a specific token and find out all possible goals to earn more. Progressing tokens is a great way to distribute XP and keep your realm in order. Now it is time to attempt Tawny Mine. This is our first group dungeon, which means we should go in, ideally, with a tank to keep all the enemies attacking it, a healer to ensure the tank or anyone else doesn't die, and a DPS hero, whose only purpose is to deal as much damage per second as possible. In our case, it looks like Logmaster, our tank officer, is already looking for a group to do the dungeon with. He is already grouped with Bradley, an elemental mage, which is perfect since we only need a healer. Fortunately, Purple is a healer. Unfortunately, Purple is only level 6 and Tawny Mine is level 8. This is a fantastic opportunity to spend the tokens we have to try and get Purple to level 8. Thankfully, we just barely had enough to get Purple to the level requirement we needed. Now, since Logmaster is already trying to do a group for Tawny Mine, if we send Purple to do the same dungeon, without even telling her to do so, after she completes Carapace Cove of course, she will automatically join up with Logmaster and Bradley. We will speed up this combat as there's only 2 more mechanics left to cover. The first is sorting. While in a group, if you have sorting activated, that means that the party member who has the most threat against them will always appear on the top of the list, as that means they will likely be taking the most damage, and so you will likely be most interested in the status of that hero. Keep in mind though, that doesn't mean the others are safe. Some enemies have high area of effect abilities and will deal damage to multiple of your heroes at a time. So, while they aren't being directly targeted, they could still die from the AoE damage. Finally, what happens if a hero dies in a group setting scenario? If it is their first death in the dungeon and there is another wave, they will be revived between waves and rejoin the party in the next wave. If it is the last wave, they will be revived and be okay as well. However, if they have already died once and they die again in the following wave, that will count as an actual death. If you are on standard, they will be sent to the hospital after completion to recover. If you are on hardcore, they will be dead and lost forever. For any wave a hero survives, they will receive experience, but if they died, they will not receive experience for that wave. Just the same, if they are dead by the end of the last wave, they will not receive experience or gear. Be sure to prepare before committing to a dungeon, as there is no way to leave once it's started, and even on easy difficulty, you may notice that Logmaster has had quite a close call while on the boss wave. Every now and then you may get a message that a traveling merchant has arrived. These are specialized merchants with exotic and valuable goods. There are 5 different merchants for you to discover. In this example, we got Have, the material specialist. From him, we can buy large quantities of materials. It's a gamble what we might receive, but usually it ends up going well. We can also sell to these merchants in very large quantities up to their maximum amount of gold. However, these merchants love gambling, so they grant us the opportunity to roll the dice. Should we roll the dice, each number adds or subtracts a value to the overall pot they are willing to pay you. This means you can win big or lose even bigger. Fortunately, we won a small 10% bonus to our sale, and Have had to pay us an extra 100 gold, though it could have gone the other way and we could have ended up paying 600 gold from the 1,000 we would have earned in the first place. The choice is yours. There are many reasons you may want to leave your storefront: visiting the traveling merchant, shopping with Hemdall, fishing, or maybe you're just AFK and don't want to close your store. In these situations, you can assign an officer to be your shopkeeper. Keep in mind though, officers are not as skilled as you are at negotiations, and they will simply buy up anything a world hero wants to sell you. Hallow's Fall is the next task in the logbook. This is a 5-man dungeon, so we are going to use the custom dungeon officer command. This is a great way to assign multiple officers at once, as well as being pickier with the team you choose to go with you, which is especially useful in more difficult dungeons or raids. Create a dungeon group, select the officers you wish to go on the dungeon attempt, and then select heroes from the realm who are the appropriate level. You will notice that there is a counter for open tank, healer, and DPS slots that are recommended to fill. However, as you learn more about the game and start feeling more bold, you are free to deviate from these group composition recommendations. You can also choose to save the group as a pre-made, which means your group for the next attempt of the dungeon will already be formed for you. You may also toggle on repeat command for group dungeons if you wish for them to continue. Once you click Start Group, every hero in the group will immediately prioritize that group run, and, wherever possible, will drop what they are doing and head to the dungeon immediately. Once 2 heroes have arrived to the dungeon, they will begin a summoning ritual to get the rest of the group there faster and start the dungeon. Though if you are attempting to summon a hero in combat, they will wait for the combat to end before the summon can go through. The final step in the logbook is Rite of Mourning, a 10-man raid of significant difficulty. Raids are dungeons which require the most powerful of heroes within their respective level range and will always require more than 5 heroes. This means that even if you have all 5 of your officer slots unlocked, you still rely on guild members and world heroes to fill the final positions. This is why it is so important to regularly make use of all the systems available to you in order to keep the world heroes as strong as they can be. However, we are not going to show you Rite of Mourning in this video. You are now armed with the knowledge you need to challenge Rite of Mourning yourself, so no spoilers from us. Instead, we wanted to show you a few example images of the upcoming UI overhaul we are working on. This is not only brand new and improved UI assets, but we will also be paying extremely close attention to how each of these systems function in-game. We want to make sure all the systems are intuitive, attractive, and fun to use. The biggest change will surely be noticed in the logbook itself. It was always intended as a tutorial, and we have heard the feedback that it is currently difficult to follow for brand new players, which is the reason for this video anyway. That said, we agree it is difficult to use and fully intend to remedy that with the new UI overhaul. Please also note that these samples are only the panel displays and how they might change. We are also including an entirely new HUD, improved icon quality, more readable text and visuals, and anything else you can imagine. We cannot wait to show you the final version we have for the Merchant's Guide to the Kingdom in version 1.0 and beyond. Thank you so much to everyone in the community. You have helped grow and change the game in so many positive ways, and it means so much to us. Our team consists of 2 brothers and a sister who have been gaming our entire lives, and we've always wanted to create a game of our own. It's moving along better than we could have ever imagined thanks to your contributions. We will see you again soon, merchants.